Good Monday, good day, Nintendo talk. Here we go. So, man, you have to be excited if you're a Nintendo fan today. Nintendo just came out today and announced that we are getting a Super Nintendo Classic Edition, just like the NES Mini that we got like not too long ago. I'm happy. I'm so happy for this. I'm very excited overall that this is happening. I can't wait. So at this point, it's going to retail for $79.99 in the United States. I don't know what that breaks out to be across the board and across the seas and all that stuff. But that said, it's a good price. Comes with 21 games. So that works out to be almost $4 a game, which is much cheaper than the eShop on the Wii U and the 3DS. I believe they run about $7 a piece, give or take. So this is a fair price, just like with the NES Classic. It came in at a good price. Additionally, this comes with two controllers, where the NES Classic came with one, and man, it was hard enough just to find the NES Classic, let alone an additional controller. I never saw an additional controller anywhere. Now, that said, let's talk about the controllers before we jump into all the games and stuff. So Nintendo has acknowledged the Super Nintendo Classic is going to be 5 feet long, which is pretty good. I mean, it's a big size cord. Now, some people might get a little upset with that, but if you think back to the original Super Nintendo was approximately 3 foot long. So this is a much better, and it's way better than the NES Classic. So that's number one. Number two is, if you look at the controllers, right, and you look at the Classic, at the front, it almost looks like the ports are the same exact for an original Super Nintendo. Now, it doesn't grant you or do you any justice to go back, but that does help with making extension cords. The thing that makes me excited about it is the plug on an NES Classic is this, right? So the Super Nintendo one is going to be an actual Super Nintendo controller. The problem with this is, this means that this is a Wiimote setup, Wiimote nunchuck. That cord could only be this long because the memory and the latency. Anything longer, it would lag, and you don't want that when you're playing, especially when you're playing like a Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, where you got to be crisp and you got to be quick. That said, that's where we are. Nintendo also came out and said, we aren't providing specific numbers, but we will produce significantly more amounts of Super NES Classic Edition than we did of the NES Classic. That's good news right off Jump Street, to just think that, like, okay, they recognize the issue, they're going to produce more. That's step one, good to go. Second part, Super Nintendo Entertainment System Super NES Classic Edition is currently planned to ship from September 29th until the end of the calendar year 2017. At this time, we have nothing to announce regarding any possible shipments beyond the year. So that said, it's kind of like the NES Classic. It's a very short window. It's a holiday item. That's basically what we're looking at. There isn't going to be this extended. They might go a little into January, but I think you could probably wrap it up not too long after that. Our long-term efforts are focused on delivering great games for the Nintendo Switch system and continuing to build momentum for that platform, as well as serving the more than 63 million owners of the Nintendo 3DS family systems. We are offering SNES Classic Edition in special recognition of the fans who showed tremendous interest in our classic content. So that's a little worrisome to some degree, because it's almost like we haven't figured out what we're doing with the Virtual Console yet, so this is kind of hold you over until we can get a Virtual Console put into place, which then makes me lead to believe we're probably not going to see a Virtual Console until 2018. I was really hoping that we would have seen a Virtual Console on the Switch before then, but it is what it is, and I guess we're kind of stuck with the cards we've been dealt at this point. Speaking of games, though, let's take a look at the list of games that are going to hit this Super Nintendo Classic. So we're looking at Contra 3 Alien Wars, Donkey Kong Country, Earthbound, Final Fantasy III, F-Zero, Kirby Superstar, Kirby's Dream Course, The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, Mega Man X, Secret of Mana, Star Fox 2, which by the way has never been released on any console anywhere, so this is kind of exciting. Street Fighter 2 Turbo Hyper Fighting, Super Castlevania 4, Super Ghouls and Ghosts, Super Mario Kart, Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars, Super Mario World, Super Metroid, Super Punch-Out, Yoshi's Island. There's a lot of supers in there. It's like all they could name it back then. That said, there's a lot of great games on this list. The one that stands out to me that I've heard a lot of people talking about today that they're wondering why I missed the list, Chrono Trigger. You know, you have two big games from Square Enix, Squaresoft at the time, and they're missing Chrono Trigger. That's a big one. I would have loved to see Chrono Trigger hit this console, but that said, it is what it is. Kick one of the Kirby games away. But overall, man, the list is really solid. It is. It hits all different genres. I would have loved to see the Ken Griffey Jr. Baseball in there. That's probably one game that I'm looking and I'm like, man. And the other thing is, man, Tecmo Super Bowl would have been great to see on here. Like, Tecmo Bowl was on the last one. Rather than Super Mario World, it would have been awesome if we would have got Super Mario All-Stars with Super Mario World. That way we get the upgraded look visuals of all the other games plus this one. But that said, it's neither here nor there. I love the list. I love the games. I think we're looking at a really nice console. It's going to be hard to get. Let's be honest. All right. So that said, UK already went up for pre-orders. And I think they're blowing out the doors as it is. Best Buy, as of now, via Nin Mobile News, they have posted that placeholders are up for Best Buy. So I have a feeling Best Buy might be the first one to launch pre-orders. You have to be on the lookout. You need to follow Nin Mobile News. You gotta follow them. You have to follow them, and you have to click the bell so that way you know instantaneously this is going up, and you have nobody to be mad at but yourself when you miss out on it. That said, hopefully Nintendo fights the scalpers a little bit with this one. Man, there's some pictures of the NES Classic, like people just with a bunch of them, and they're selling them for astronomical figures. Nintendo kind of incentivized them a little bit, kind of like made it a necessity for people to have to go to them, especially when they cut the NES Classic very short. Them basically saying, like, there's a short window, these guys are going to go out in full force, they're going to smoke them, and we have to beat them to the punch, ultimately. That is all. Thank you guys for watching this episode, man. It means the world, the support you guys are giving me. Whew. Just, man, hits you in the heart, man. You guys have been amazing, amazing. So humbling, man. I can't say thank you enough. Seriously. For those that are following me, Instagram, Twitter, check me out there. If you like the video, please click like, share it with all your friends. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. It's fun. I think. Probably not. It's okay. That is all. See me later.